Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul.
And I'm Patrick.
But sorry for that shock there, Patrick, for, for jumping us on quickly.
You're good. It is Thursday. It is time for us to start, so I should always be prepared.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of surprising quick things that we just like jump on and yeah. So also I'm the crazy one who was doing all the hosting today, so I've jury rigged things. But yeah. Welcome
It
to
is
Hear Us
going
Out.
so smoothly. I can already see, Paul. We are looking more professional than ever, or as professional as ever, because I don't think we should ever set people's expectations too high. You're here, you're with us on YouTube, and the important thing is you're part of the conversation. So everybody that's watching right now or watching in the future, the comments section is open. Get in there. We're going to be doing a bit of a monthly news roundup, Paul. So I want to hear
Yes.
what other people want us to talk about that they've heard of that's news this month. But what have we got on the deck?
Oh, there's been July's one of the most exciting ones to happen as well because it happens right during a big event. You may
What would that
know
event
it.
be, Paul?
Oh, people might know it as this small convention, San Diego Comic Con.
Oh, yes, the
Uh,
Comic-Con, I
y-
believe. The
y-
Comic-Con or something similar. I'd never heard of it. I'm
yeah,
not sure of its pronunciation. In San Diego.
San
Yeah,
Diego, meaning
it means
whale.
Wales something.
I like how we both jumped there. Yeah, no, there's a lot going on this week, which could alone, not to mention there's a loss that happened during the year or during the month, of July. So we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. We've got massive traders. Essentially, everybody's hitting their summer kind of schedules for next year now,
Yeah.
which is really unfair because September and October are still months that have lots of good stuff coming out as well, but you'll hear about those in those months. Um,
Yeah, it's
or
weird. It's a land rush time of year. If we talked about just trailers released this month alone, we could do a 4-hour episode just on trailer releases, and even taking Comic-Con and the whole that end of things out of it, it would still be packed to the rafters. And it's because people are releasing trailers to grab those dates, grab people's attention. And like you say, everybody's they're they're nailing their corner of the calendar next year. So yeah, the land rush is on.
like the other part of the land rush was also because people wanted to release trailers for San Diego Comic Con as well. They've all it feels there's one particular that which just was pointed out to me that may have rushed their trailer specifically so they could release it around San Diego Comic Con, which goes but we'll talk about them later,
Ooh.
kind of thing. But yeah, so which goes it is the July Hear Us Out news roundup. So which goes so Patrick, where would you like us to start on our news roundup? There's plenty of stuff to talk about.
Can we be mildly unorthodox and just not start with Comic-Con? Because we're going to get there
Oh
and
yeah,
be there for a bit.
of
So
course.
just throwing a few things out that happened earlier in the month. And again, I mentioned trailers. I want to pull out there. I don't want to talk about, or I haven't told Paul that I wanted to talk about, and I'm not going to. There's a Ron Howard movie. I think it's called 13. It's about the you remember the kids that were trapped in a cave in Thailand, and became even more of a story when Elon Musk called one of the rescuers a pedophile and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be a weird movie if they include any of that
yeah.
sideshow. I kind of hope they do. But it's got Viggo Mortensen and Colin Farrell and all sorts of stuff like that. That's a trailer from, I think it was technically the end of last month. I'm going, these movies are flying in under the radar. So many great things are happening. That's why I want to call out a movie called She Said. And Paul, the reason I want to call this out, not only because I think it's a movie that I'm going to be very interested in seeing, it's one of those, the trailer isn't brilliant, but it gives me enough vibes that I think it might be a bit like Spotlight, which I really dug. Did you get Spotlight vibes from the
I
trailer?
did. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the thing. I was like, I immediately was just like, I'm glad because this is gonna be because I've been looking for a more kind of, I guess, a more serious journalistic kind of movie. I didn't know I
Yeah.
missed it, but when I watched this trailer, I was just like,
Yeah.
my heart
I've
has
been
been
missing
filled.
that. And it's a look, horrible subject to have
Yeah,
to cover, but about time Hollywood movies started covering this. The reason I find it so interesting, in case you haven't been able to tell from the posters, folks, this is about there were the New York Times journalists who kind of, let's say, helped break the whole Harvey Weinstein story that led to the Me Too movement, which was huge, absolutely huge, and relatively centered around Hollywood at the time, let's say, at least at its beginnings, and I mean of the movement. So there has to be a Hollywood movie made about a Hollywood scandal that is very much ingrained in Hollywood as it was, let's hope as it was rather than as it is. That's going to be a tricky movie to make and make well.
Yeah.
Particularly, it's you're standing in the kitchen of the restaurant at that point complaining about the food. You're working in the place telling them that the food's crap. So I really hope that it does turn out to be as hard hitting and as laser focused as something like Spotlight was. And if it is, then fantastic.
Yeah, like I hope so. I hope that it's clear and kind of it doesn't. I hope it's not this kind of like Hollywood thing where sometimes they take on a very serious subject and then like make you believe that they're going to go the right way and then just veer right at the last second kind of thing, and decide that they're just like, we're bringing in another way. We're still doing the subject matter that you wanted, but not in the fashion that you wanted, which is my worry about it kind of thing. So yeah.
And like I said, the reason I brought it up is this is one of those ones that'll easily get overlooked in the maelstrom of what's going on. And I definitely think that it's one that shouldn't be. Look, as it comes out in a few months' time, there will be more press around it. But most people I've mentioned the trailer for this to had not heard or seen it. And they were like, the what? Huh? So yeah, a little gentle shout out. I have a sneaking suspicion we'll be talking about this one again, Paul. So I'd say we can move along if you like.
I have a feeling that we will. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a talking point for probably when it comes out and it hits. And as I said, it is filling a journalistic kind of vibe that we both miss. So I think that will also, even if the movie isn't good or anything like that, I think the journalistic kind of hard hitting movie aspect of it will make us talk about the rest of it as well, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Actually, Paul, I'm just going to jump to the comments because I've spotted that Pop Culture has mentioned, hadn't heard about, she said, wow, cast looks strong. Yeah, it's got Carey Mulligan, all sorts of people are in this. It'll be interesting. I think it will be interesting.
Yeah. No, it should be good. And the no news from DC is kind of harsh right now, especially since we've already talked about The Flash. But there are trailers out there for some of the other content that we'll get into.
Yeah, I actually pop culture. Thanks for that comment, because when we do start covering Comic-Con, I think we should start with when we get to that section of our show, Paul, because let's face it, there is a bit of an absence of DC at the moment.
Yes, there is. Kind of thing. So let's should we jump into? I'll try to avoid as much Marvel DC Comic-Con stuff right now. So what I'm going to jump to is I'll jump to one of mine,
sure, please,
which is Pinocchio, the Pinocchio Del Toro, which is trailer came out.
Sorry, who's this Del Toro you speak of, Paul? I'm not sure I've ever heard you mention him before.
He is my boy. Which goes which is the Pinocchio. So there is another Pinocchio film that's also gonna come out I think around the same time, which is being done by I think Tim Burton. I think he's producing it. This is the Del Toro one. I think it was a similar kind of thing where everybody had a Pinocchio script, and then Netflix were just like, we're going to do Pinocchio, and then everybody else was just like, well, we have a Pinocchio script, so we might.
The Houdini is happening. Yeah. Which one has Tom Hanks? Because one of these has Tom Hanks somewhere, I think.
So I think
I don't know.
I think this doesn't. I don't think this has Tom Hanks. I think this is because this is the which is Ewan McGregor one, not Ewan McGregor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor. Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought I may have said someone else's name there, and I was just like, nope, don't give him any. Yeah. The biggest thing about the trailer is it's got it seems like it's not gone in the direction that plenty of people thought it was going to go into for a Del Toro kind of film. It seems like it's going to be a lot more light-hearted, a more kind of fantastical, a little bit more kind of like a children's story kind of thing. And everybody thought he was going to go the opposite direction and just be like, let's do a Pan Labyrinth on this thing, kind of thing. So I'm also glad for the fact that we're not getting, Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth kind of mixed in together with
The Shape of
Pinocchio.
Water version of Pinocchio would be difficult to sell to people, I think.
Yeah, my worry is that the adult entertainment industry would probably have a field day with some toys.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you're right. Oh no.
But yeah, so
we can't have nice things.
No, we can't. No. But yeah, no, I'm happy that I'm happy that he's going to more kind of children's friendly kind of thing. I know the Disney one will probably also go a little bit more kind of children friendly, but I think I think everybody thought that Pinocchio from Del Toro was going to be like, yeah, eyes and hands and stuff like that. There's going to be still darkness in it because, it's a children's tale and there has to be darkness in it. But I really love the stop motion aspect to it as well. They've gone stop motion, which is really, really cool. I've been missing stop motion.
Me too. I think we've talked about how much we're fans of all of the digital artists and digital animators, etc., etc. But obviously we're fans of all the artists and animators of all styles and types. Stop motion. Like I grew up Ray Harryhausen, Jason and the Argonauts, all that kind of stuff. It has such a massive place in my heart. Stop motion. I feel more connected sometimes to stop motion animation than I do to almost any other, even traditionally drawn. And I don't know why. So yeah, that definitely works for me.
Yeah, and it's done by a studio, which is it's a sister studio that is hiring a lot of Mexican kind of animators and directors and scriptwriters and stuff like that, which is great. It's their sister studio to the one in Portland, which is great. It's just nice to see Del Toro kind of, I guess, going back to his roots a little bit, right. Which is always nice to see people kind of being able to lift other, which just great creative people from their home countries and stuff like that may not be on the world stage yet.
Exactly. And Paul, I do this to Paul every now and again. The long-time watchers will know that every now and again I just go, Paul, I'm going to ask you something I've never asked you in our personal lives. I'm going to ask you live on air in front of the entire internet. Even if Del Toro wasn't involved in this, I'm guessing that you're a Pinocchio person, as in that's a story that you've always had an interest in. Because I know Iron Giant and other things over the years that you've gravitated towards. Is Pinocchio one of those stories? Because I personally do. So I'm just wondering, is it the same for you?
Yeah, because the original kind of Disney cartoons, so that and Dumbo, the two Disney cartoons that I watched repeatedly, was like just childhood staples in my home. So they're the two films that have stuck with me the most. And I think that Pinocchio, the kind of boy who's trying to become a real boy, and the Iron Giant, the Iron Giant trying to find his place in the world kind of thing. I think those kind of aspects, I think humanized things, so robots or wooden robots trying to find their place in the world has really kind of stuck with me in a lot of kind of ways. So yeah, I was, even if Del Toro wasn't, I was following a couple of the other Pinocchio's kind of scripts that were going around the place. I'm kind of interested if they were going to go darker or go lighter. I'm happy they're going lighter because I'll be honest, the Disney film was a bit of a mind screw.
Yeah, it all was back then, and thank God for it. It was a great start for us all to kind of have, kids' tales. They have to mess you up a little bit, or else they're not doing their job. It's a weird thing, but it's just the way it has to be.
Yeah, they get a little dark. So yeah,
cool.
which is.
I'm just going to throw to the comments real quick, Paul, before we move to the next one. Disney's Pinocchio is the one with Tom Hanks, and it's being directed by Robert Zemeckis. Yeah, you had me at Zemeckis. Disney need to make a live action. Yeah, so this is about keeping the rights and avoiding things just lapsing or public domaining themselves. I think it's exciting that we're going to have Pinocchio for a new generation, and we've done a whole episode on twin films, folks. And also check out, this is a great time to plug It Takes Two, podcast where two people talk about two movies that are similar either in plot or premise, or sometimes more tenuously linked than that. And it's really exciting how Nick and Lisa do pick the movies and how they connect them. So I'm kind of into all that. By the way, link in the description down below for It Takes Two podcast. I'm into two tellings of the same story happening at the same time. I've never seen it as a bad thing, because it doubles your chances of somebody doing it well. And if both of them do it well, then you have two great tellings of a story.
Well, because the thing that we forget a lot is the fact that like it's the director's vision of the story with input from other people as well, but it's mostly the director's kind of vision of the story, which is really nice. So when we get two aspects of it, it hopefully reminds you about the fact that just because you don't like the way that a film is being done doesn't mean that it's like that's it, it's finished, it'll never be done again in another director's way or something like that. I know everybody's sick of like redos and stuff like that, but I think people are more like reboots are more sickening because it's essentially just the same story, and it doesn't really have a director's kind of like staple on a lot of the stuff. But I believe that Pinocchio is kind of that level where everybody knows about it, and they might as well put a stamp on it through a director's kind of vision of it. So,
completely agree.
So where would you like to go next?
Can we take a very short pit stop at Greyman? Just because it's topical for things that happened this month and more news has happened about it. So Greyman, for anybody who doesn't know, if you have Netflix, you possibly already do know and have possibly already watched it. It was it's the Russo brothers, their Agbo production company. It's another one of their big budget kind of big films that's straight out to Netflix. It has little known people such as Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, the best of all the Chris's, my favorite Chris, everybody's favorite Chris, and Anna Darmus and all sorts of people in it. Bill Bob Thornton's in it. Like there's all sorts. Actually, I want to make sure I don't forget because I don't want to get her name wrong. I got it wrong the last time I said Jessica Henwick. I actually called her somebody else. Jessica Henwick, for anybody who doesn't know who she was in Iron Fist. She was in Game of Thrones for a short while. She was in The Matrix 4. She's awesome. I think she needs better roles than she gets, and she needs a lot of them. And I need more of her getting very different and varied roles because she's got like the chops to do this. I think she should be a much bigger star than she is. She's got that Florence Pugh kind of thing to me where I like first time I watched Florence Pugh, I was like, okay, there is somebody we're going to be talking about for years to come. I'm kind of weird that Jessica Henwick's making a career, but it just feels like it should be much bigger. Anyway, tangent off. Sorry.
No, definitely agree because there's a scene in Greyman where her and Ryan Gosling are talking about guns, and it is very funny, and it's like to be able to kind of play with Ryan Gosling in that scene and not be overshadowed by like Ryan Gosling or anything like that, or even having a hint of this is a big actor, I'm playing with them kind of thing. Any kind of like, I guess, shakiness or anything like this or nerviness was in no way there. It was very natural and very nicely played with. So like it just proved again to me that it was just like, she's very good. So
yeah. And for anybody who doesn't know or hasn't watched the channel enough, I think Rosario Dawson can do no wrong. Jessica Henwick got, similar to that, Paul, got to be in, or was probably the best thing about Iron Fist on the Netflix Defenderverse, whatever it was being called at the time. And they crossed over in that, and I thought, hey, there's two of the great actors of I was going to say my generation, but I guess my generation and the one slightly after me, because I don't know what age Jessica Henwick is. But yeah, awesome. Anyway, I completely sidetracked there. Greyman, I watched it. You watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think it was any good? Because I thought there's going to be people ready to tear this apart. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
So
enjoyable movie.
It's better than 6 Underground. It's way better than 6 Underground. Which is no slight to Ryan Reynolds and the crew that did that. But this seems a lot more fun. The only issue that I ever had was the parachute scene. The parachute scene was just a bit messy for me. It was a bit hard to kind of see what was going on fully. But rest of it, the fight scenes, the choreography, the storyline, and stuff like that is all very good. Kind of thing. So I enjoyed it a lot. Kind of thing.
I put this straight in my mental shelf beside old guard of things that don't go to cinema, straight to streaming, that have enough budget and they're done well in their own genre, to be like, yep, it can be done. It can be done. These are things I'm going to say, more like that. And I hate to say it, less like 6 Underground, which I really enjoyed in a different way, but it missed the mark by further. And you're right. There's places in Greyman that it misses a bit. But I want to call out the leads. They were fantastic. I think Ryan Gosling, it's not like we don't know he's a good actor. It's not like we don't know Chris Evans is a good actor. Anna de Armas, I think she is just going to continue going from strength to strength. Why is this a news story, though? It's not just that this came out. It's a news story because since it was released a week ago or whatever, they've already confirmed they're looking at sequels and spin-offs. And personally, I could handle a spin-off on the Anna de Armas character, working on the inside of whatever. There's somebody running the show who's shady. They haven't outed that. I could handle more Greyman stuff. I definitely could.
Yeah. When I was watching it, I knew that there was sequel stuff and I knew that there was some spin-off stuff coming up. And I was actually watching in two minds. I was watching it and I was also kind of going, where are they going to do? I can see where they're doing the sequel, obviously, but what spin-offs would be good? And one of the spin-offs I thought would be good was the Lone Wolf guy.
Yes.
I think
very much.
Yeah, and I know that the audience, like, we're trying to be very non-spoilery on this because, like, it's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, just go watch it after this, kind of thing. So we're trying to be non-spoilery, but yeah, I think there's a character in it that could be very, very good for a spin-off kind of thing. I don't think he'll be very charismatic, but his story would be interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
But Chris Evans in this is very good. My only thing is that because I've recently watched Knives Out, his character in Knives Out is very similar, or feels very similar to this character.
Confident, cheeky,
yeah, which is my only thing about. I like a little bit more kind of uniqueness to him would have been good, but that's my only critique of Chris Evans and this character. So,
well, if we're throwing in critique, can I be mean? Because that sells tickets. By the way, internet, come watch our show just because I'm going to be negative about something. Don't like being negative here, but I've got to say this. I've got to get it out there. I didn't watch Bridgerton, but I know that it broke this person's career as far as made them a bigger star, and they're starting to show up all over the place, including in the next Dungeons and Dragons movie. Renee Jean Page or Reggie Jean Page. Yeah. I don't know if I'm butchering your name. Sorry, dude. Weak link from an acting point of view. Weak link for me.
As
complete deadness in every direction. I just, maybe this could be one of those things that could just be me and him, but it didn't work. And this is not the first thing I've seen him in where I'm thinking, I assume he's very attractive to a lot of people, because I have a bad feeling he's getting roles because he's hot.
I understand that. I would agree with his role in this. I would agree that he plays a shadowy figure in this, which more is meant to ooze, I guess, sinisterness, right? The thing, sinister and control. And he doesn't
conceited, and he couldn't really pull it off. The dialogue was doing work that his acting wasn't, and I just like, ugh.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to be mean, but
no, I do get that.
Yeah. So there you go, internet, come join us, give us another 10,000 views, because I just crapped on somebody. There you
go. Yeah, but I did enjoy the overall thing, which was oh my god, I can't believe it. The last time I've seen which was the father figure guy, I can't
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. It was in Armageddon.
Oh wow.
So like,
that's a while back.
I know it's the last thing I've seen him in. I can remember, and between now and then he has not changed He's a good actor. He does play father figures quite well, like, or people in control kind of thing. So like I didn't mind him in this. He was very good. So it was just a comment on the fact that that's the last thing I've seen him in.
Yeah, that is impressively a long time ago. Cool, Paul. Well, let's switch it up.
I'm gonna go for John Wick 4. Trailer came out this. Now there's not much to it, kind of thing. No, it might show. So, yeah, the John Wick Chapter 4 trailer came out, which was in the last week, which is, I'm very interested in John Wick, as you probably have known. So is Patrick, kind of thing. It is, the John Wick 2 is one of the best sequels ever made. Pandora
Parabellum, was it?
Yeah,
Was the third one. Yeah.
3-1 is how you ruin a franchise.
Thank you. Thank God you said it. Thank God you said it.
And 4 is how you try to cover up that there was a third one. So yeah, the trailer seems interesting. I think we're going to get more of the high table, which will be interesting. But I think they've essentially backed themselves into a corner, and they're going very kind of.
I just hope they ended, Paul. After that, like, they could have ended with all our hearts in their hands if they'd ended it in the third one and done a good job. But now is their chance to land this plane again. Because I won't give them a chance at a fifth if it's too bad and two good movies out of 4.
That's, yeah. Well, like, we've praised the second one for the fact that it built onto the world that they had already established. 3 essentially just decided to throw things at the wall and see what stuck, because they already introduced their big baddies, and then they were just like, yeah, but there's one above him or one above them, and it's like, no one cares. It's not something we care about. Just keep with the high table. But it does look like we're going to go to the high table. It looks like the Low King is going to come back, which is Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne is going to come back and replace his role, which is great. He's a very cool character that they did bring in. But yeah, there's going to be, it's the more reason that I'm going to be watching this is to see how well or how bad they go, and also the fact is that I like John Wick, so more John Wick is good. Hopefully,
it's hard not to, yeah, it would be hard for me to go, I don't, John Wick, forget about it. Of course, it has me interested. You had me at John Wick, but and pop culture's pointed out the fifth one's in the pipeline already. This is what worries me. If this fourth one's great, then yay. I'll put my money into your cinema for a fifth one. But if it's not, I will be just hanging out and watching it whenever it shows up, because there's nothing that makes me sadder than stuff I like being slowly but surely beaten to death and ruined. Yeah, so I would say I'm excited, except I'm more nervous than excited, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's a nervous excitement. I get you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm probably very similar. Like, this could win it back. They could make it go back to simple, but I guess the problem with John Wick can go stale in the sense that it could turn into another Death Wish, which is just like, okay, what are we killing it from this guy's like life now? What, like, okay, the dog, okay, cool. Now we are getting into just elements of. If anyone doesn't know what John or Death Wish is, go look out there. I think there's 9 of them.
Yeah. Did you step on my shoes? It was Bronson looking for another reason to kill everybody. That man took my parking space.
I think the fourth one has him nuking New York. I don't know why that's stuck in my head. I don't know if it's the fourth one, but anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that this is going to go along a similar kind of vein of kind of just going, yeah, John Wick just kills everybody.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we're near at half time, so we're gonna have to get over to Marvel soon. What do we have to tidy up?
We have Clerks 3.
I wanted to give Clerks 3 an honorable mention because Clerks 3 is, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm a Kevin Smith fan. Paul, I'm assuming you can be counted there too.
Yeah.
People can have their feelings about his movies, etc., etc. But no matter what you love or hate from him, Clerks and Clerks 2. And yes, Clerks 2 is good. People who have been watching it, you should. You'll be surprised. I think Clerks 3 has the potential to turn Clerks into not just an interesting, indie movie that has a whole story about launching Kevin Smith. I think it has the chance to turn this into an actual bona fide trilogy that people will talk about, the Clerks trilogy, which for meta reasons alone, if you've watched Clerks 2, you'll want to be able to talk about trilogies when it comes to these people. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I hope it ends well, so to speak. I hope they can execute. I'm very positively hopeful about this, though. I think Clerks 3 should kick ass.
Yeah, and it's got an interesting cast coming back, which is the original cast, and also someone who you love as well. But it's good. I like that. Clerks has got a Clerks and that kind of Kevin Smith kind of, I guess, film section has got a very special place in my heart, especially that it feels like a 0 point in space and time. So when they make something new, it's kind of this like, I know the playground, I know what I'm getting myself involved and stuff like that. And that's not even just Clerks, that's, most things that Kevin Smith kind of his own IPs kind of stuff. But yeah, so that'll be good. So that's an honorable mention that we decided we'll get out of the way there. My honorable mention is probably going to be Eggsy or Taron Egerton. This is
Oh yeah.
Is gunning for Wolverine.
I've heard this.
Yeah, there's rumors that he's gunning for the Wolverine spot, or he wants to do more Wolverine, or he wants to try his hand at Wolverine. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I like him. I like him in Kingsman. I like him in a couple of other things that he's done as well. But I don't see him being able to take on this role.
Yeah, I'm almost gonna go no comment because I mightn't have picked Heath Ledger for the Joker or Joaquin Phoenix. So it could be egg in my face if they go for it and great, but at no point did I go, yeah, that's a really good idea. You know what I mean? It didn't land with me going, oh, that's genius. I didn't think of that. Or that's so obvious and it's brilliant. It was more, yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's I did it because I saw a fan made image of Oscar Isaac as Wolverine. And I was just like, man, that looks really good. And then when I started thinking about it more, I was just like, Isaac is Oscar Isaac. Now, it's a pity because he's playing Moon Knight, I was actually just like, oh, he could have the chops to do it.
That would have been an interesting choice, yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of people looking at the there's a lot of short people such as myself thinking, I wonder will the next Wolverine be short? So I'm sure there's a lot of people throwing their hat in the ring for Wolverine because the rebirth of the X-Men, that one's going to pay for a lot of houses. You're going to be a rich and successful person if you can land yourself a Wolverine, or even a Storm will get you somewhere in Malibu, I'd say.
Oh yeah, easily get a Jubilee.
Well, at the very least, you'll get a condo in Sunnyvale. I don't know. I'm not up with California house prices right now. I'm sorry.
No worries. So I thought it's just an interesting kind of talking point, and also brings us more into the kind of Comic-Con elements. We might go for a short break because we're going to start talking about nothing but Comic-Con probably coming up, and some of the more comic based kind of elements. So I'm going to put on an ad, and we'll see you back in a couple of minutes just while we get things ready. All right.
See you in a second.
Minutes. Bye. Hey, welcome back, guys. Thanks very much for watching that advertisement. Which is, if you want to sponsor the show, get in contact with us.
Yeah. Do you know what? If you want to, if you have your own, if you want to pump, if any of our actual regular viewers, so Pop Culture, that shout out goes out to you. Brew, I can see you in the chat. If any of you want to promote something that you're doing, send us some details. We might cut together a little 30-second ad and throw it in here. So let us know. Pop, I think you've got a podcast that we need to know more about and need to get hyping as soon as it gets off the ground. Brew, you just know everything there is to know about music, so maybe we could just have 1 minute of your like Twitter handle on screen. Go and ask him everything about music.
Exactly. Which goes, but yeah, that's a moment. And also, don't forget, like, subscribe, share us out, ring that notification bell. We are trying to hit a 500 which goes subscribers, just so we can open up that community section, which goes and start chatting more to you about the great entertainment news that we're going to come out now. Which goes, so where do we want to start with this one?
Look, how about we encapsulate it for anybody who's not into this stuff, and for anybody who is. Everybody knows that the MCU has been a rolling success. So Marvel's been a massive success. DC is their main competitor. So think of things like Superman, Batman, Justice League, all these sorts of things. That's the other stable. For anybody who isn't into this, that's the basics. Now, Comic-Con, big deal. San Diego Comic-Con in particular, big deal. DC weren't exactly completely absent this month. Like, there was a Shazam trailer, and I'm into Shazam. I really like Zach Levy. I'm into watching Shazam 2. I think Shazam is better than anything else almost that DC has done in the last long time that isn't Joker. But that's kind of it. And I'm finding it hard to get excited for Black Adam, which I know is important if you're into Shazam. But that's kind of where they are. There's a whole lot of crap happening in the news about the Snyder fans. Were they pushing too hard? Were they all bots? Blah, 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 blah. It was the Snyderverse surge that, people were pushing for. Was that all contrived? Was it real? I know it was real, because even the people who say it was contrived, the numbers are small enough that you're like, yeah, so you're saying 10% of this was bull crap? That means 90% of it wasn't. I feel like out of Comic-Con, nobody's talking about DC, as in a positive light. Like, Pop Culture called it out earlier on. DC didn't come out of this feeling great, I wouldn't imagine.
No, I agree. Like, yeah, like we got an extra part of Black Adam, which I just putting up a poster there. Which is, we got more trailer for Shazam 2, but no kind of big announcements of any kind of new properties coming back, or something that we already didn't know. Like, Black Adam and Shazam 2 were both announced prior to Comic-Con, which is, so it's kind of they're kind of just like, yeah, another trailer, and that's it. I don't even think they were in Whole H, which was announcing anything really. I think they were just reiterating, as I said, Shazam and Black Adam, which is sad. As you said, yeah, started to see more and more kind of items come up about the DC fans versus the Marvel fans, and then the DC versus the Snyder fans, which is an interesting one to me as well, kind of thing. But I guess it's just the way that it's going to go, because you get a 4-hour film that is better than the 2-hour film, and I guess you start going, oh, what could have happened? And you kind of go, a lot of things could have happened with 4 hours, man.
Well, that's, yeah. How about you have an 18-hour film and you turn it into a series, and then it becomes the best film ever by being able to be shown over 18 weeks. So it isn't really comparing apples and apples. It's true. I'm going to throw a quick hypothetical, because I know we're moving on to Marvel next. Just last thing on DC. We mentioned the trouble with the Flash movie and the trouble with its star. Do you think that DC were all set to roll in with Michael Keaton and everybody else, and really that got completely scuppered, and all they were left with was, well, Dwayne Johnson's massive, so let's just throw that out there, because we were really going to hang it all around Ezra Miller and, fucking Supergirl, whatever else they were going to be rolling out. And that all just got shelved, or at least put under the table for now.
Yeah, like I think that they were gonna roll out the Flash as their big kind of thing, and then I think they were going to have Dwayne Johnson and which goes Zach both turn up with kind of their ensemble as well, kind of thing, and kind of really build the fact that we are going into the more ridiculous right now because DC have had nothing but bad luck because they've got Ezra Miller, which goes and also the Amber Heard stuff with Aquaman 2 and stuff like that. So like they've been really hit hard. That like I feel that they're gonna be lying low for a bit. They're gonna see
Mm.
how Black Adam and Shazam hits, kind of thing, and I guess that's going to determine which direction they keep going in for the do they lock up the DC universe and just be like it's done, we're gonna do one shots, maybe we'll continue on with the Harlequin kind of series of things, because they did announce the season 3 of Harlequin, the animated show, kind of thing. So DC's and also DC's animated did release their new Green Lantern movie as well. So the
Mhm.
animated size is fine. It's the live action stuff.
You're about to give me a segue to Marvel, though. That's one area where DC were always able to kick ass that Marvel weren't able to edge in as hard was their animated division. Well, Marvel spent an entire day at Comic-Con making sure that everybody realized, oh, by the way, we're really coming at it with the animation now too, up to and including what is their hottest, when will they, what will they do with in the cinematic universe, the X-Men, and the callback to X-Men 97, which, for a lot of people, that X-Men original, as people would see it, the original X-Men cartoon was, was the best thing that Marvel had done from an animation point of view, or one of the best. Now, like, Marvel really are kind of coming out at every angle to push DC off the board. I don't know what the right phrase here is, but just not give them any room to move their pieces. They really are starting to block them in.
Yeah, I think like okay, so for the live action stuff, yeah, I think Marvel's really pushing them hard, kind of going, look what we're doing. Now, this is the interesting thing, which we'll get onto a little bit later. Right now, the fourth and fifth, which is phases have
The
not been
phases.
going strong
Mm.
as much as they used to. So I think that they're going to start pushing hard in different directions just to kind of solidify their position. I think they're gonna have a big fight in their hands with DC animated though, because like all they have to do is just be like DC. The only thing that they would have to announce is essentially that they're gonna redo. They're gonna start, which is Batman Beyond again, and the animated series, and that will just kick off a whole bunch of things against like once again the big push will be just like yeah try it Marvel,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of thing.
Mess around and find out. I think it's going to be. I we know that Marvel won. They can have trouble with phase 4 of their cinematic universe, where the first 3 phases and 20 something movies had been almost, universally successful. The fact that they've even now just got the chops to kind of go, we're now really going to launch a bit of an animated offensive. I think DC, you're right. DC will kick their ass, but the fact that DC will have to means that they don't have that space. Like I say, there's no space on the board for them to mount a counterattack. Their king is going to get stalemated the hell out of here eventually. Sorry for all the chess metaphors. I don't know where that's coming from.
Did you watch Queen's Gambit recently? Because I watched Queen's Gambit recently. Anyway,
Which is excellent, by the way. I really
it
enjoyed that.
is.
Paul, what do you most, so for anybody who's not into phases, think of everything with Thanos and all the way back to the start for most people, which is Iron Man and Incredible Hulk, etc., and then Thor and Captain America. You had your phase 1, you had your phase 2, you had your phase 3. It all ended in Endgame, which was the big Thanos. Everybody knows about gauntlets and stones, even if they're not into this stuff now. So phase 4 has been everything since then, give or take.
Yeah.
And like Paul says, it's not been going universally well. Like there's been high points and low points, and COVID did happen, Paul. We can't ignore the darkest timeline. But the big news for me was that Kevin Feige the Lord and Master, all this stuff, walked out on the stage and went, yeah, so the thing I'm going to announce is phase 4 is ending, and I'm going to tell you about phase 5 and 6, but I'm also going to tell you that phase 4 is ending with, we were all expecting him to say Fantastic Four, because what a lovely thing. Big 4 in the name, big 4 in the phase. Instead, he almost went one higher and said Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2. And I mentioned this to you before we went live. It is hard to underestimate just how important the Black Panther property is to the MCU. Because, we'll watch all other movies, and then some other people will only watch if it's, let's say, Iron Man or one of the main people, or they like the Guardians of the Galaxy end of things. Or, whatever. A lot of people will skip Eternals and skip all the rest. Black Panther hit across the board and then some.
Yeah.
Which is why, and I said this to you also, Paul, I wouldn't swap with Ryan Coogler. I wouldn't want to have to do Wakanda Forever, because if it goes wrong, it goes wrong in front of everybody. Not the hardcore fans, not the sometimes fans, not the average viewer, not just the cinema goers. It's the big one. It's the everybody part of their franchise. I think they can do it. But Chadwick Boseman sadly has passed away, and a lot of people are going to go into this going, so what are you going to do? Who's your Black Panther going to be, and how are you, for lack of a better term, killing off T'Challa, his character?
Yeah, this is the kind of this is where like before this show, where I was coming from was, they have to do this respectfully, they have to do it in a way that makes sense, and then they also have to set up the next person all in one movie. Like, they do not have the time, and the way that the phase 4 has been going has not been going well for them. So people will be going into this expecting the same thing that when they went into Thor. Like, they'll be expecting something like, big and fancy, because this is one of the characters that really made an impact. Not only with his own movie, but within the Avengers movie sets, which is Civil War, Captain America, Civil War kind of thing. So like, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, and it's going to be difficult. And as you said, I do not want to be in anyone's shoes on that production. No. We could be talking about a completely different tune when it comes out. We could be literally.
I think they'll smash it. I just wouldn't want the pressure has never been higher.
Yeah, true.
The chance to fail has never been greater. I think they'll smash it, and I'm really looking forward to them smashing it. I just, oh man, you can feel the air being squeezed around that one.
Yeah, like one of the first things I said to you, or like one of the first things you said to me was, how are they going to do it? And I was just like, that's the big question. It's the biggest question. Like, I'm sorry, and I'm trying not to be disrespectful and stuff like that to Chadwick, but he put such a big stamp on that character that it's like, not only are we saying it'll be very difficult to be in anyone's shoes on the production, it'll be very hard to be stepping into those shoes as a character as well. So it's an interesting one.
So that ends phase 4. And then there comes and also the big change in phase 4, by the way, in case anybody hasn't noticed, is the first 3 phases were movies. Phase 4 was the first one that was Disney Plus TV shows and TV properties of varying lengths, which will come up again in a moment. Because, you've got your Miss Marvel that's just finished at 6 episodes, a very brief run, a short run. I could have handled longer. I thought it was great. They're covering so much ground. It's not just a couple of movies a year anymore. They're phase 4. What's coming up next? Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2. You've got She-Hulk. She-Hulk is going to be a tough sell, particularly with that uncanny valley problem that they have, where everybody's looking at the VFX going, does she look right? Does she not look right? I'll get over that. Will everybody else get over that? I'm not too sure. I'm excited for it. Again, Paul, all I see here is stuff that I think they'll pull off, but there's so much chance for failure. And heading into a phase 5 and 6, crikey, they're not just saying next 2 movies. Now they're talking about the next 2 eras.
Like, yeah. Well, they've announced Loki season 2. which is a big kind of, I guess, ask because everyone loves that one, which was it's just so much here to go
Well,
through.
what tickles you most of all? What stood out to you? Kind of going, where will this go? What will happen?
So okay, so so Loki season 2 is going to be a big one because it's directly involved into what's coming next for Kang and his kind of storylines and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
it's the first time we see that character. He's the big baddie who's meant to be for the next two phases. So
yeah.
season
He's your
two,
new Jonathan Majors is your new Josh Brolin. He's your new Thanos. Kang the Conqueror is going to be conquering away and looking different as he goes as well. It's a very different kind of character to Thanos. So yeah, like
like
that Loki season 2 better not. Again, no pressure there either.
that's the thing. It's like, where they're gonna, because that's gonna be one of the vehicles that they're gonna be showing people while going on with the rest of the movies and stuff. It's kind of like the WandaVision thing with Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. One of the things, I guess, which is a breath of fresh air in this kind of thing, would be the What If season 2 announcement. Because
I'm personally really happy about that because I loved What If.
yeah, no, it's a great thing. I hope that they are able to put in the 2 episodes in which they missed from the season 1 to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit more. Which is, but it's good. It's great to see What If because it's the only thing that will not be in any way or should not be fully connected to anything. It might hint things that they show as pieces and stuff like that, but nothing so much that it's kind of like, if you haven't watched What If, then you will have no
Yeah.
idea about this thing, kind of thing. So I'm really happy that they have brought that in. What else were you kind of interested in from it?
Uh, we know. You know what? I'm going to just go for something that isn't getting talked about. Blade's happening. We know Blade's in there, and we also know that because Blade's happening, like there could be all sorts of things. There could be Ghost Rider. There could be all sorts of other stuff that they're not talking. We know they have D23, the big Disney event, that they're going to announce more. They'll talk more about who's going to be in certain things, like who are the Fantastic Four going to be, who's going to cast that. Paul, the Thunderbolts was dropped as a big thing, and that's
Yeah,
your Suicide Squad for Marvel. For it's not exactly right, but for anybody who's not into this, I keep trying to layman it a wee bit here. But you've got Thunderbolt Ross himself has passed away.
yeah,
William Hurt passed away, so they're going to have a reason to mention the Thunderbolts, as in give them their name. But I think it's probably going to be the Julia Louise Dreyfus, Seinfeld lady to a lot of people, who showed up at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Black
or showed up in
Widow.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, showed up at the end of Black Widow. I'm interested because Kevin Feige himself said, yeah, Thunderbolts are happening. We'll tell you who are the Thunderbolts. That's going to be exciting. Because
Yeah,
you've got Yelena Belova's, Florence Pugh, previously mentioned on this episode. You've got a few people that could be really, really interesting to start building this alternate Avengers style, team up movie around.
yeah, like that's the biggest. It's the biggest thing. These are known as essentially the anti-Avengers kind of thing. These are military backed rather than Tony backed. Kind of superhero team. Also involved, like, and indirectly controlled by Thunderbolt Ross. So it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, is it going to be in? Is it going to be that they going to do are they going to recast Thunderbolt? Because there's no one I can think of would be better to play him.
Yeah.
Because
I think it'll be one of those named in his honor things and they'll move on.
yeah, like even if if they do it right, I'm gonna be happy with this kind of, like, even if they reveal the fact that which is she Seinfeld lady is
Yeah.
is actually Thunderbolt Ross's, like, long lost daughter, not the one that everybody thinks about, like, Bruce Banner's kind of love interest, but someone else.
Liv Tyler's not coming back. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be a difficult one. But it also opens the door for Hammer, which will be also an introduction to a reintroduction to Osborn, Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, which could also be an interesting kind of thing to bring into the since we already had a Green Goblin with which is William Dafoe, so that this opens the door a lot more to other things that could coming down the road. Which is what about this is one that I think it might be Agatha Coven of Chaos.
Oh, Agatha Harkness. Well, anything that gives Catherine Hahn a chance to be Catherine Hahn, who she like WandaVision was excellent in so many ways, in conception and execution. And she is one of those things that I refer to as brilliant as part of it, but a delight on top of it. It's one of those things, perfectly placed, perfectly acted, everything's excellent. But more than that, there was just cherry on top. Every time she was on screen, it's like, oh, you're giving me extra, and I love it. So I'm down with that. Will Agatha Coven of Chaos? You got some chaos magic. Is this going to be where we get to have the Scarlet Witch come back and maybe be a bit rehabilitated in more ways than one after what they did to that character, as far as I'm concerned, in Multiverse of Madness? Is this going to give them a chance to do a bit of a reset? Will she want to go back to TV now? Will Elizabeth Olsen, will she be like, actually, where's my movies now? If I'm at that level, what's going on? Am I going to be in a series where I'm not even named in the title? That one I've got story curiosity for, but I've got nothing but the giggles kind of going, Catherine Hahn's not going to let us down. She just isn't. Even if they write it badly, she'll bring enough to it that it'll be fun.
That's what I'm thinking as well. This is going to be another one of those kind of fresh air ones where it's just like it's not overly connected to the outer universe and stuff like that. I don't think that they'll. I think they'll use this as a vehicle to bring Scarlet Witch back, but not in the middle of the show or anything. I think it might be that will be the goal, and that there will be a movie announced then with Agatha versus the Scarlet Witch kind of thing. Like I think that will be their movie.
Gotcha.
And I think this will build up to it. Kind of thing, because I think they want to give you more Agatha, because everybody loved Agatha, everybody loved her, she was great, so I can't see that kind of going on. Some of the other ones I'm interested in there is also the Daredevil Born Again kind of things. Yeah.
See, I was saving that, if you know, and I was keeping that out because I mentioned episodes. They've already said, look, we're getting Daredevil back, and it's it's Charlie Cox. Already showed up in the most recent Spider-Man. We're going to give you back D'Onofrio as what he should have been all along. I hope, as opposed to how he showed up in Kingpin, how he showed up in Hawkeye, which was a bit weird in that ending. This Born Again, it's going to be related to the Netflix shows, but not exactly related to the Netflix shows. I think that's where this one will live or die for me. How much can they bring? How much will they try and change? Because it's going to be the same cast. How much of the past do they want to wipe out? Don't retell any of the stories. I would be very happy if they don't try and reboot and retell stories just to reintroduce people. If they can softly move on, I'm fine with that. But yeah, Daredevil season 1, still some of the best Marvel there's been. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I agree. I did think that they did a shot of him arriving in She-Hulk as well.
Yes, they did.
So like, I think he's going to be. They're going to showcase him in a couple of other things like they're like they've been doing, and then they're going to just they'll just be like, here's your own show again, to go with it. I think the cast. This is going to be the interesting thing. I think the cast are going to be a big player in how the tone goes. Because it's very hard to, I guess, soften a lot of those characters up. Like
you wouldn't want to, from my point of view.
No, not at all. I don't want any change. I just want to just be like Marvel, just been like, they're home on Disney now. That's it. That's the only change you're gonna get. This is actually season 4, kind of thing. But I do think that the actors will also have a big play of kind of how the tone goes, and I don't mean in the sense of how they act. I think they'll be directly to the production crew going like, no, my character wouldn't be like that, kind of thing, because they played them for 3 seasons and also in other
and in crossover with other shows and then Defenders. Paul, I don't want to lie to the people, the good people of the internet. I cannot lie to you. I have to admit something. As excited as I am about Daredevil, I have an ulterior motive. Paul, you already have seen this because you know me. If this Daredevil, and the important part of it, the cast being the same and linking back to that previous universe, gets me Jessica Jones back, played by the right person again, and if I could get a little bit of John Bernthal, please, as my Punisher, the thumbs are all up.
Yeah.
Okay, do I care about Iron Fist as much? Maybe I don't, but and Luke Cage probably similarly at this stage. But if we can use this for nothing else but to get Jessica Jones and the Punisher back in, played by the right people, and then get us John Bernthal into the MCU, off Disney Plus, into the movies, there is a place. There just is a place.
Yeah, I entirely agree. I entirely agree about how that, like, I don't mind Luke Cage. Luke Cage is good. I think that Disney could do a lot with that character and with the stories that have come out of that. I think that they could do a lot with Iron Fist. I think they could do a lot with it.
All of the cast around him, for sure.
Like, yeah. I think that because they either recast him or they really have a big talking to him about how he needs to revamp the character, kind of thing. But I do think that they could bring the Defenders back into the bigger fold, kind of thing.
I would love them to do that. And look, they're already talking about Tom Holland Spider-Man being part of the kind of the street level heroes. To what is a better bridging gap to get them into the movies, periodically and where appropriate. So yeah, Daredevil's really exciting, but I can't lie that it's also really exciting because of the connective tissue it may serve as going forward. So there you go. Give me an inch, Paul, and I take a Google map. I don't just take a mile, I take everything.
I definitely agree there. And we also got, let's run through these quickly, just which goes. We got Echo, which has come from Hawkeye. It's going to be interesting, I think, which is kind of going further into their story. We have Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which has been not announced again. We've already known it is coming. I think we have seen more of the press junket stuff that's coming out, and more of the characters and actors that are going to be in it, kind of thing. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna look forward to seeing Miles, or not Miles. Yeah, Miles. No, not Miles. Adam, guy who's going to
Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The young Englishman who I watched when he was a kid doing comedy stuff on British TV, because he's been great for a long time. By the way, anybody who wants to go on IMDb him, the guy that they've cast as Adam Warlock has been doing this for a lot longer than anybody realizes. I cannot remember his name right now.
Which is so I'm interested in that one. Also, the Guardians of the Galaxy has always just been a fun member of the franchise, kind of thing. And also
James Gunn closing his trilogy too.
Yeah, so I'm happy about that kind of thing. Breaking up to our Black Panther kind of thing. If anyone hasn't seen it yet, there's a big story about Ironheart coming out, which was released on the Black Panther 2 kind of thing. So we'll be getting our person in a suit back into the MCU again. Obviously with the multiverse kind of stuff, we might see further stuff. Maybe a Tony Stark kind of cameo kind of thing. I'm talking about cameo stuff. Captain America New World Order.
Yes.
That's going to be... You think it's going to be good? What do you think?
I have my Anthony Mackie issues. I have no issues with the Sam Wilson character at all. I'm positive on it. I just am. They can do this, and I really do hope that I love it, because there's no reason I shouldn't.
Yeah, agreed. It's going to be good. It's going to be exciting. I'm worried about it. Anyway,
I was trying to hide my fear there a little bit, but I don't want to crap on somebody. It's an Anthony Mackie thing for me. It's literally down to an actor for me, which is a bit weird, and I think it's a bit irrational on my part. So I almost want to abstain. I don't want to vote for that one.
No, I get you. which goes to run through. So we've got our timer again.
Mm-hmm.
To run through, which goes. So we've got let's go for Secret Invasion, which goes
Can't wait.
Multiverse Saga,
The Marvels.
the Marvels, Avengers Kang Dynasty, which goes should be the big one.
The tradition is now going to be continued into the end of 3 phases. There will be a double Avengers movie. So we had our Avengers Age of Ultron. You had Captain America. You've had Avengers 2.5. You've had all the rest. But when it came to ending phase 3, they had Infinity War and then Endgame. This time round, it's
Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty.
That's it. So they're already thinking.
Yeah, like it's good. It's good. It's a load of stuff coming out, and it's a better plan, I guess, from what we're seeing, because we didn't get phase 4 didn't seem like it had a plan or a roadmap kind of thing. So looking forward to it. Who do you on all those things? Fantastic Four.
I'm pumped for it. I am pumped. I'm very, very skeptical as to how they're going to pull that off. I don't know if the casting for Reed Richards that we had come up with a couple of years ago still stands for me, because finally got to see him as part of Multiverse of Madness, and it did leave me a little bit unsettled. But again, different universe, different portrayal of the character. I'm excited about it, but it's not the one that stands out for me. Weirdly, this should have been the thing that we would be talking about most today. But it just feels like, will this ever happen?
That, and also the fact is that we kind of we've been dying for it to come in, and then when they bought Fox, we were just like, Fantastic Four is coming in, and then what we got was John Krasinski as Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness. So when they announced Fantastic Four, I think everybody was just like, yeah, we knew that was coming. Like, it's not a secret, It's great that you finally actually announced it, kind of thing. But I think that people are a lot more excited about what that entails, which means Doctor Doom will be coming in, which was also leaked by Howard Stern. I think at the start of this month and the end of last month, Howard Stern kind of leaked that Doctor Doom will be involved, and also getting his own either show or movie, kind of thing, which I think everybody's just gonna get now, kind of thing.
This is like Oprah. You get a TV show, you get a Disney Plus, you get a movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like I know you're a Doom man. You're a Doctor Doom man, which by extension then means you must be a bit of a Fantastic Four man. I was a Fantastic Four man as a kid. I was just crazy for Fantastic Four. I should be more excited, and I just am, Paul. I'll be with you. I would spend more time thinking about, will they pull off, Blade? Will Blade be more than a one-off? Will Blade be the next kind of wow, or will Blade be the next? And not to do it, Paul. Again, internet, come watch us. I'm about to shit on something. Quantum Mania didn't get mentioned here, because Ant-Man and the Wasp. Well, mostly because of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Again, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Good stuff, but that's about it. Good stuff.
That is a franchise that does not seem to get its kind of it hasn't got its running shoes on yet.
Well, maybe stop giving it to Peyton Reed. Like change the director. I don't mean to be so directly blaming one person, but I don't think it's Evangeline Lilly or the ageless man who's playing Scott Lang. Who's that immortal being again? What's his name? Paul Rudd. Thank you. Yeah, the guy that will never die. And I think we will all have to join together to fight him at some point.
Yeah,
I've said it here.
It'll be
knowing that I can see the future.
Avengers versus Paul Rudd. That'll be the last.
Exactly.
That'll be the last of the phase 10.
Like, he's great. The man's charisma on a stick, and Ant-Man works in other movies better than he does in his own movies. So, should I pick on the director? I don't know. Am I gonna? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree that is a franchise that hasn't got its run its legs on, and it's I think the same thing is with it. I think the Fantastic Four kind of elements, I think that they need to go more kind of towards the Thor and Thor Ragnarok way, as in they need to make it slightly campy, slightly jokey, slightly kind of like, more kind of lighthearted than maybe the rest. But Marvel, not in recent films, but in Marvel has been able to take on very, very tough plots, but instill that humor that they have and kind of like give you breathers and stuff like that. Not a 2 hour kind of never mind. I'm not gonna go back. If you want to see how I feel about Thor, with Thor Thunder, Love and Thunder video back, I'm gonna go back into that. But yeah, no, I think with Fantastic Four, they need to go about that kind of like campiness, and I think with a couple of the other ones, they need to do that as well. And I think Ant-Man would have been better, and that kind of like sense of kind of going, it's a guy who shrinks, he talks to ants. Like, let's not take this too seriously, kind of thing. We'll do serious plot lines and stuff like that, but don't forget that it's a guy who grows and shrinks, kind of thing.
I would have given Quantum Mania to Taika Waititi, and given like I don't want to go back to Thor. Anyway, so Paul, like that's like the big hidden gem in all this for me, and I mentioned it a few times now, is not Fantastic Four. It's actually Blade, because it's the one that nobody's talking about, and it's the one that's going to be, as much as Guardians of the Galaxy started the kind of space stuff, and as much as Strange started the mystical stuff, Blade's going to bring a whole new angle to all this. And you've got Mahershala Ali. It's
Kit as well from Game of Thrones, and also from the Eternals. He's going to be involved in that franchise as well, which will be an interesting crossover.
If they get that right, we will be talking more about Blade than we have done about, Thor and Ant-Man in the previous stuff. If they get it wrong, it'll be another Eternals.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's because it's a new direction that they can be going in, more kind of fantastical, kind of vampirism kind of thing.
Yeah.
That hasn't been done in the MCU yet. So I think it's because it's that direction that we're kind of going. I think they tried to do that with Eternals, and just decided to slam in 3 different subplots and no plot into one film, and then was just like, that's a film kind of thing.
Mistakes were made, Paul. So in the last couple of minutes, because I want to make sure we wrap, is there any one abiding thing that you wanted to point out from all of this month's news?
No, I think the lack of DC. I think we might have to do an episode soon about the kind of the lack of news coming out of MC or DC, other than just the films that are going to be out in the next couple of months. Is a big and where can they go? Kind of thing is something that we might have to sit down and talk for an hour on the show at some point. Because we've talked about it plenty of times. Is it time for them to give up the ghost and just continue on with their one-shot stuff, or like their kind of more fringe elements that they've been doing really well with, kind of thing, and stop trying to be mainstream?
Yeah, and will Joker 2 be the thing that helps them make that decision?
Yeah.
So Paul, on that note, I'm going to throw a very quick plug in for you if you give me 10 seconds. And that is, Paul hangs out with a bunch of much more creative people than me. They're all much more handsome than me. But I'd like to say that I'm taller, for all the hell all of you know. Nobody knows. We're all sitting down. Homebrew Quest, that's your search term on YouTube. Go check them out. It's D&D with a drink and some seriously cool attitude. Do check them out. Links in the description down below.
So let us know down in the comments if there's any news that you wanted to fill in. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell again. But thanks very much for watching. I've been Paul.
And I've been Patrick.
And we've been Hear Us Out.
See you next time.